Good morning, folks. Gonna try to do a little basing this morning. We got a short session, as is normal on Saturday mornings, and we'll see what we can knock out of this basing process. I get the computer booted up here, and let's go ahead and do a little intro comment here. Welcome. We'll have you guys take a look here at the Russians here in a moment. Even though the video quality is going to be kind of not that good. Let's flip this thing around. How's this thing being difficult this morning? Okay. The heck is gritty down here? It almost fits perfectly across the screen. There we go. This is the last of the Russians. So, once we get these guys based up, you guys will start seeing some videos of this army. And let's, where is my other container? Well, this one will work. We'll use this as a rudimentary palette. I don't necessarily need to do a, I don't necessarily need to do a wet palette for this. No, where'd I put the little brown? There we go. All right, so this process of basing all of these figures, these 5 stands, took about 2.5 hours the other night. It took way too long. Took way too long. But, you know, you either rush it and then you have to touch things again, or you kind of try to do it once right the first time. So that's my preference, is to do it once right the first time. And as you can see, if you've watched any of this earlier Russian video of how I was doing these figures over the last, I don't know, what's it been, 4 months? 3 months, something like that. Maybe 2. I lose track of time. I wasn't really happy with the shields because of how glossy they turned out. But as you can see, after I've done all of the varnishing, that isn't the case anymore. They are pretty darn flat. And that's after adding a gloss coat to it, spray, a flat coat to its spray, and then I brush this stuff on at the end, which is really working for me. I've done this in the last couple of armies, and I've been really happy with the results. So a gloss coat to seal everything in, a flat coat to flatten it, and then super flat. So that's actually on here pretty thick. And with that said, these shields that once were glossy are no longer glossy. See if I can get this one to get any kind of shine on there. Not really, which is what we want. And these are little big man decals, little big man studios decals. There we go. And here's the big man himself, the prince. Obviously the banner's here. We haven't put any white glue on it. And there are other banners coming for these other knights. I'm going to try at least to put one banner on each one of these lances after everything's done. Obviously, we'll glue this into place so it's not flapping around in the wind, but also Little Big Man Studios. Okay, so let's go grab a candidate. Now, the only thing I didn't like about these guys when they were done is this particular character here. I tried to move him so his lance is farther out of the way, and his lance sticks way out. So hopefully that's not going to be an issue encountering, say, heavy foot of the enemy when they go into combat. It may be, yeah, it just is what it is. I didn't realize that until I was starting to put the guy on there. I put it as far back as I'm comfortable with. If I put the horse any further back, then I've got an issue on the back of it. So this might be a stand when they go into combat, they'll end up moving in a different location. Yeah, like here they fit fine behind them. So we may have to replace one stand for the other one, but you know, it's a cool pose. He's just kind of incorrigible. Doesn't really let somebody else get in there. All right. We're going to find a brush that's not terrible, but isn't one of my best ones. Let's see if we can get away with using this big one. This is a rather larger one because this process of painting everything this color, my first coat, takes a long time as well. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be on here about an hour. I don't think I'm going to be able to get all these guys done in an hour. It just takes that long. So just bear with me. And we're just going to literally put this straight from the bottle. Let's get these off screen because it's throwing the focus off. All right, and we are not dry brushing yet. We're just putting the initial coat on these guys. And we're just using this because it's made of metal. It's a piece of crap scraper. Is there even a scraper in there? No, this is broken. This came broken. It's what happens when you buy crappy stuff. All right, and we're just going to come in here, and I put a little bit of moisture on here to try to get in between these. Now, one thing I did is I pre-painted the bases around the horses, so that way I don't have to, when I'm painting this middle one, have to get right up to the horse's legs, because that's difficult to do. And when I'm doing the edges, I just push the edge of the stand past it, and then we could just paint it like so. And make sure we get all the way to the end there. I know what's going to happen today. Everybody's going to show up in the last 15 minutes before I'm going to have to leave, and I'm going to have to leave you guys hanging, unfortunately. But I am pretty certain we will be back to this probably even today. Well, let me just shut up, and that way I'll get the opportunity to do that. But yeah, this is a long weekend for those of us, some of us in the United States, Memorial Day weekend, and we're definitely going to get some painting done. We will get this army complete by the end of the day Sunday. And these guys will make their gaming debut on Monday. That's the plan. Hopefully they will do okay. I have actually played this army already and did okay in a tournament, in a couple tournaments. They're 5-2, so what's the worst thing that could happen? By the end of Monday, they're 5-5, right? They're not going to have a losing record. Hey, you'll look good doing it. So we'll have some Eastern European battles there for you. And have these guys fight some of their enemies. And it's definitely on the list for these guys to do is fighting the early Poles, the Teutonic Knights, and some Mongols. So we'll see if we can squeeze some more stuff in other than that in the first video. I normally don't like giving away what videos are coming out because things change. Or as I like to say, shit happens. And unfortunately, things change. So I don't like to update and have to tell you why things changed. They were against. I was against the changes happening in the first place when they happened, but that's how life is. That's how I've been told life is. All right. Need to switch to the smaller one to kind of get in here. You don't want to do all this painstaking work and then botch it up just by being messy when you get to this stage. So, as I like to say, I'd like to make different mistakes. All right. Now, the other gripe about these figures, the figures are beautiful. But the other gripe about them is that, in retrospect, well, I was going to say, in retrospect, I wouldn't have used the lances that they came in because these are white metal as opposed to actual needles. But with that said, these are really nicely cast. They actually have like a point. I mean, they have a nice shape. Look at this one. This is a nice shape. But the problem is they will eventually bend. Now, they're not super bendy like some of the Essex spears that are just unreasonable, honestly, as bendy as they are. But still, they will eventually give. I like using the metal pins because then you don't have to worry about them ever bending on you. But unless something catastrophic happens to your figures, like maybe they're involved in a car accident while you're driving, they slide, short of anything like that, it's pretty much once you're done, you can just forget about them. But I may have replaced them if I were going to do them now. But they are nice spears, so it's not like they're just boring ones. Like the figures I got coming up with the next army, they've got they are old They're very old figures, and their spears are extremely bendy. They're really old, where they have even the old alloy that they used to use in the 80s and the early 90s. And so I'm going to replace all them. We're not going to go into battle with those bendy things because it's just a fallacy to think that they're going to last. Okay, so that's it. That's actually took less time than I thought it was going to. But that's just a base coat, which is honestly the slowest process of them all. We're going to be painting in a base coat, then we're using a middle dry brush, a light dry brush, and then we'll put grass and tufts. But the slowest process of any of those on a particular stand is just painting everything in the regular brown color. So we're going to put these guys off to the side. I got to check on one thing. It's called Mr. Coffee, even though I don't have a coffee maker. It should be done, so I will be right back. All right. On to the next one. We may need to rinse this. Let's go back and rinse this just for good measure. Come on. Yeah, this was a rough week to get stuff going. It took a long time. I'd gotten these guys done, I want to say over the weekend, but it's taken me all week to get around to doing the basing. So we've been really busy with work and other stuff. So hopefully these guys will be, I'm gonna say fun to play, but I've already played the army. So, but I've even said that lots of people are surprised when I tell them that when I spent a couple hundred hours building an army and looking at these guys, really don't care to play them. It doesn't mean I'm not going to play them. It just means that, I've looked at them for a couple of hundred hours, the figures. So, I've said it before. I'm 60% painter, 40% gamer, and maybe more 70-30. It's not that I don't like to play games, but I don't have to play games with these guys. That's the game just is a reason to paint more things, you know? Because whatever I do with these guys, I'm gonna get gameplays in these guys. We're gonna, you know, get them. I think my Armenians now are on the cusp of almost like 80 games or something like that. So get the army done and get them on the battlefield and get your use out of them. You have to get into a smaller brush for that. Anything else we can do with a big boy? I have to do everything else with a small one. I don't want to rinse it. It's got a lot of good paint in there. Let's see if we can. I mean, you can go smaller than that. Do the edges of these guys. I did. Okay. That's why I say don't use a brush that you love, because right now the paint is drying on the brush. My options are to just paint the rest of the stands with a big brush, but I don't want to hop around because that's how you miss things, or that's how I miss things. It's like start something, finish what you started. We don't want bits of things done. We want completions. Bits of things doesn't work for me. You have nothing to show for it. Good morning, Mr. Dirk. Or good evening to you on the other side of the world. Almost on the other side of the world. Nearly across the world. I think technically for me, exactly on the other side of the world is something like Afghanistan or something like that. I don't remember. I remember somewhere I don't want to go. Not New Zealand. I mean, exactly on the other side of the world. I have to look that up. Oh, New Zealand would be nice, but I have a aversion to earthquakes. I just, something about falling in a hole. No. Okay, this one's done. Isn't it an excellent book? It it is superb. You want to know the bummer? That's the best book out there so far that I've found. It's excellent. Yeah. Now you want a Republican Roman army. They're not exciting. They're not that exciting to paint. They are the army that I tell everybody to. You don't already have a Republican Roman army? How boring. You also do DBMM. That's a lot of painting of a lot of the same thing. That's the army I tell people. If you've never played, go buy that army. Go buy the Polybian Roman. Everybody knows about them. They fought a long time. And don't go out and buy Carthage first. Learn how to play a game using the Romans. And that one has some variety of troop types in there. It's not like the Marians when it's over and over and over and over a lot of blade. It's at least you get some triarii to paint, and they got a lot of solid elements you can count on and some mobility. But yeah, that's an excellent book. That's an excellent, excellent book. One of the books I just started my next book. Okay, it's not horrible. The narrator could be better. The storyline's pretty good. So I'm looking in my library, and I came across that I had bought a book that I didn't know I had bought it. I think I misclicked it, and it's the Norman Conquest by Mark Morris, I believe is what his name is, and the reason I misbought it is because I've mentioned before that I'm not particularly interested in the Roman conquest of England because everybody does that. But it's a book on that. And I'm like, well, I don't remember buying this. I mean, I've got other Mark Morris stuff on there on my wish list. So I'm like, hell with it. I'll go ahead and read it. It's pretty good. The narrator is not wonderful, but it's got a lot of stuff that I don't know in there. So that's pretty cool. So I do need to use my credits because I'm now getting into the zone of I better use them up or I may lose them because I think I'm up to like 9 now. So, but one book that the book of his that I have on there is The Great and Terrible King, which is supposedly, and I say supposedly because I haven't read it yet, on Longshanks. And that is an army that is on my to-do list. Isn't every army on my to-do list? Yeah, pretty much. But Mitch has the Scots, so it makes sense that I'd build a Longshanks, and it's got a couple horde stands in that army, so that kind of makes it interesting. And but I haven't gotten around to doing that one because it might tempt me to send me in a different direction. But there was a book on there by about Belisarius, and I thought about getting that one next. And I'm like, no, then I'll end up painting Byzantines, which I should do, but that's not where I want to go next. So we'll see. There's lots to digest. There's lots to digest on your daily commutes. Not really using it during painting, although you weren't here earlier, but I mentioned just doing the goop on these 5 stands took like 2.5 hours the other day. Part of it is it takes forever. Part of it is that I was watching videos instead of recording. I didn't know how long I was going to have to paint, so I'm like, well, I don't want to tease people and only do a 30-minute thing, get set up to do that. And it's difficult to do when there's other activity in the house because I don't want you guys picking up background noise and, all the fights and wrestling that we do here off camera. I'm kidding, of course. But So I watched car videos instead because that's one thing we had to do this year is go car shopping. Unfortunately, because we lease and our leases were up, and this is the wrong year and the wrong time for that to happen. It is just absolutely a zoo out there with lack of availability and prices going up, and the people that are selling cars. I had one guy told me that, well, it's a car salesman, so for what it's worth, see if it's the truth. But he said he'd been doing this like 30 years. He was an older guy, and he said that he'd never seen anything like what's going on right now. So with the high demand, low availability, and I was surprised everybody's been complaining for 2 years that they don't have a job and they're sitting at home on, what the government was giving them, but yet they're out buying cars. I I don't understand, but okay. That's the problem with a lease is, you got to get rid of your vehicle. Whether you want to, well, you could buy it, but um, you got to get out from under it. So the timing of it this time wasn't ideal, but we got that resolved yesterday, so that's good news. Yeah, new models didn't come out and all everything. I'm not going to complain. It all worked out pretty well. So I got to go pick the vehicles up tomorrow. Today. Today is tomorrow. Um, really excited to finally be back to driving a stick shift. I haven't had one since 2008, against my wishes. So, what is that? How long has it been? A long time? 12 years? 13 years? I was really hesitant to drive one because I'm like, man, I don't remember if I know how to do this. Yeah, I remember how to do this. Piece of cake. So now, as I like to say, everywhere I go, it's like I'm playing a video game. Man, I missed that. But for those of you who do not live in the United States, this is a great country, but the assholes in this country do not know how to drive standard, nor do they want to, for the most part. So, bunch of backward barbarians that live here. Uh, so yeah, there's a lot of really excellent content on YouTube as far as like, I wonder about this. Let's see if somebody made a video about it. They did. You know, it's really pretty cool. Really pretty cool. There's a lot of people out there making videos just because they like making videos. And I'm not talking about my stuff, but I'm talking about stuff that are people that are passionate about whatever it is that they're making a video of, as I am passionate about this. So that's awesome. That's why I don't mind making these videos because it's my way to give back to the YouTube community, whatever. We all have our special, what is it? How's the saying go? We all have a special set of skills. So we need to, if you have the ability of putting your information out there, share it. So hopefully you guys don't have to buy cars out there right now because it is a zoo. It'll be good for another 3 years now. Don't have to touch that. Okay. Even Canada, there were some models in Canada. They have, oh well, we have this model's made with the standard, but it's only available in Canada. Like what? Oh well. I guess they're not popular here because people want to surf on their phones while they drive down the road. Yeah, that's a good idea. Uh, Speaking of New Zealand and cars, there was a video, I'm sure you've seen it. Maybe it wasn't broadcast there, but there's a video that I remember showing my daughter a long time ago. Well, it may have been 3 years ago, whatever. And it was a video, I believe it's from New Zealand or Australia, but I actually think it's from New Zealand about texting and driving. And it was pretty graphic. And yeah, I showed that to her. They need to put stuff like that in this, here in the States. A lot of people out there doing. You need to keep your eyes on the road, folks. You can put your book on Audible and just listen to that, but don't be looking at your phone when you're driving. There's my public service announcement. But I believe it was a video. It was a public service announcement. It was like a 5 minute long video with a couple of girls that get distracted and wreck a car and crash into somebody else and have a small baby. And it's pretty graphic. I need to show that around here. You can be safe and have fun. Just like when I tell people about going to the gun range, you can be safe and have fun. You don't need to be, trying to prove something. Responsibility is empowering, but be respectful. Well, this is actually going quicker than I thought. I'm gonna actually get all the base color done before I have to shut off. So that's good. Yeah, we're gonna do some flags. Honestly, haven't looked at them. Well, we're gonna have one big banner on the general stand, obviously, because he's got something to prove. He's got an ego issue, as most great leaders do. But we've got some smaller banners here, like say this one right here, and here's another one, and here's another one. So what's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we'll probably put one banner of each or something like that of these smaller ones on each one of these other. We don't want to go crazy. I don't like to flood the stand with a bunch of flags because every flag you put on a stand that isn't the general dilutes the authority of the general's flag. See what I did there? You don't want to, you don't want them coming after you. You don't want them to demote you and turn you into a serf. So, you need to mind your manners and make sure everybody knows he's still in charge. I'm going to have to go to a smaller brush here. I specifically picked this one because it was kind of crappy. All right. Let's clean these two out because we don't want that stuff setting in there. We need to get them between those legs. So let's go ahead and find a higher quality one that I've got a little bit more. That one we use for horses and stuff. There's one. Guess we could do this one. So I got a notification yesterday morning, that said Your videos on Facebook Live are about to be terminated. Expired is their particular term. So I uploaded two of them yesterday. I'm not sure how many I have on there. I'm going to say I have at least 20 or so. They'll eventually make it over to this YouTube channel. The whole reason that they were on Facebook to begin with was because at the time that I started to want to do videos, I did not have 1,000 subscribers. So I wanted to do some live videos, and Facebook allowed me to do it. Since then, since I've been able to go live on here, I don't use the Facebook anymore because there's lots of people that don't use Facebook for whatever reason. And, you know, they're free to do those things. People, I believe in free will and free choice. You don't want to use Facebook, that's fine. I don't want to buy products made in China. If you want to buy products made in China, you can, but I'm not going to. And, you know, free will, baby, you know. So, anywho, they, I got this notification they were going to come off. So a couple of the videos I uploaded, and so you guys can check those out. So they are ones that were made a couple of years ago, but I don't want them to disappear because we made them and they may be useful for some of you. One of them was the first one I thought of. I don't want to disappear is had a friend of mine who had just played DBA, did not know how to play DBA, so we kind of took him through the ropes. I'm not going to make videos that are specifically how to play DBA. Those type of videos are not fun to do because they're frustrating as a person making videos. You always forget to cover something, and you know, and it's really frustrated for myself to see that after the fact, like, oh, I should have mentioned something. So I've got to do it in an environment where you know, you're not going to be able to cover every single thing. So I know Larry was coming over. I'm like, let me go ahead and film this live and see what, you know, what it is. So, and I don't feel like it's my responsibility to do that. They're not my rules. So I may show an interpretation that we use that may not be what the author liked. Not that this has happened before, but I'm just kind of thinking ahead. And, you know, it's just not my responsibility. Just like the same reason a couple people have told me throughout the years that I should do a unofficial guide to DBA, and I said I'm not going to do it because that is a whole lot of work and doing something that I'm not particularly interested in doing. I've said it before. I'm not a rules person. I want to play this game because it keeps me painting. So I am a painting and like figure research, figure out what figures to use for each army, how to paint them, history. That's my interest more than just playing the game. The rules, they're just a means to an end. You need to leave rules writing exploration to people who, you know, want to have like a honorary lawyer degree. That's not my personality type. I'm not interested in that. So, and by the time I get around to doing that, all that work, I could have just come up with my own set of rules that fixes some of the issues I have with this game, which there aren't many, but so I will make my own set of rules before I create an unofficial guide for this one. But I have no intention of doing that anytime in the next 10 years. There we go. That might be a good plan for like when I'm retired, which is more than 10 years from now. So, but there won't be any rebasing. You know, I'm always going to play some kind of DBX type of game because, you know, all the effort that I've put into these figures, I don't want that to be like, well, I can't use that anymore. You know, like right off the bat, you know, you keep the army list the same. You got to go out and buy Phil's book for the army list, even if you don't play his rules. I mean, that's only fair. That's just inspired by that. So, I only got a chance to play Phil Barker in one game. He seemed like a nice fellow. He plays a little basic, just push things forward, and that's how he wants to play. That's fine. We uh, we like to get more juice out of his games when we play. We play him hard, and but we like teaching other people how to play the rules hard as well. There's a lot of enjoyment you can get out of them. They're deceptively one-dimensional rules, but they are anything but that. So for those of you guys that didn't see my earlier part because you came in late, I wanted to show you the shields here. Look how they were not glossy at all after doing the matte coat on them. This is a Little Big Man Studios decals. They really happy with how they turned out. So still not as happy as I would have hand painted them because I like hand painting things, but it's a good product. It just scares me because when you're putting it together, you're like, man, I got 35 years experience painting and I feel like I don't know what the hell I'm doing when I'm putting these things on. It's scary. All right, we got some comments. Love your battle videos. Excellent, thank you. Better because I understand the rules so I could follow what's going on. Yeah, I really enjoy explaining why we're doing things. I've played Mitch 800 freaking almost 900 times. So, and it's not like I'm going to give away what my strategy is. I've said this before. I'm not a strategy guy. That's not like, well, I'm going to fake over here so he could. I'm not interested in that. I like to make decisions when the game gets into the Tetris phase, when guys are recoiled and some aren't, and you have to make your best choice, kind of thing. So I do enjoy. I do enjoy talking out loud. So next time somebody comes and visits us that wants to play DBA, just let us know. We'll do another how to play video and teach you the ropes. There's people always asking the same damn questions, and I'm not gonna say it's because the people are dumb. It's just the rules are written very difficult to wrap your head around sometimes. And it's not the so-called barkeries, it's the fact that how they're organized. Nothing's ever repeated. So, if a combat value or how a unit reacts in a certain situation is not in the unit description and maybe somewhere else, you got to go go into sleuth mode, and find out where something is. And if you do it enough times, you find out where the rule isn't, and then you can kind of try to track it down that way. But it's the challenging. Maybe that's why I basically played no miniatures for the last almost 20 years, other than DBA, because it's a worthy climb. But it's not newbie friendly. Can't see myself making it to Florida in the near future. Oh, come on. We take people all from all parts of the world. What's wrong with New Zealand? I know, it's super far. It's costly. It would be jet lag from hell. Hey, you could take a sailboat. There's no jet lag in a sailboat, right? A cruise. That's the way to travel. There is no better way to travel than cruising. Now, these days you can't, but yeah, I don't like air travel. I don't like air travel at all. It's creepy. And I'm not talking about terrorists. I'm just talking about a steel bird falling out of the sky, man. I got scared. Was I even in my teens? I don't know. a really bad lightning storm flying into Mexico City, and I think it kind of scarred me. Now, I don't get airsick. Um, I don't get I don't get motion sickness from anything, um, and I don't not look out the window. There's nothing worse than being in a plane. I don't go on a plane very often, maybe once every 2 years or something like that, and not look out the window because it's just very surreal. You know, it's like, is this really happening? It's just really messed up. But nothing a couple of drinks can't take care of. Then I'm good. But luckily I'm not an angry drunk, right? That would be bad. The guy's on calm on a plane, but he wants to fight over the stewardess. But yeah, I do not like to fly. But so when I go on a cruise, I like making fun of people that get seasick because I do not get seasick. Well, my people came from the freaking ocean, you know? It's in my blood, as I like to say. Bullshit answer, but yeah, I don't get seasick. So everybody's got afraid of something, and embrace your weaknesses, right? Bored 26 hours flying to travel to our UK office. Yeah, it's horrible. And I'm actually okay when the plane is in level flight. It's that turbulence where it just drops and you're wondering, like, I hope it catches. Or we flew out of Tampa one time on I'm gonna say it's a 737 200. So small plane. Mr. Cog, welcome. Small plane ish, and it took off like 45 degrees and then banked like 45 degrees. And I'm like, holy moly. And it felt like it was like only up 1,000 feet. And it was like, yeah, I don't like stuff like that. I actually feel a lot more comfortable if when I want a jet flight, I could be in there with a cabin crew, you know, because then you could see, oh, it's nothing to worry about. But it's the whole, I wonder if this is the end. But I don't get airsick, and I don't not look out the window. It's cool. It's like you're flying over a tiny little diorama. But everybody's afraid of different stuff. Lots of people are afraid of, for instance, spiders. Like, dude, it's a spider. Step on it and move on. Now I know over in Australia they have monsters. Okay, so use a shotgun. You guys could still have shotguns in Australia, I think. So snakes don't bother me. I don't want snakes in the house. They don't come in the house, but you'll never catch them. It's got no legs, and you'll never catch them. But they're not gross or anything. Now those flying huge cockroaches that we have outside, yeah, no, I they make me scream like a little girl. Everybody has the things they don't like. So so many people are afraid of spiders. Unbelievable. And they're little. They're not like, Australian outback spiders or something like that. Camel spiders, stuff from horror movies. Just a regular spider. Like, they're not that fast, you know? They don't move in a random direction and fly at your face. You guys that live in the super northern hemisphere, I'm sure you guys have hardly, Mr. Cog, I bet you guys don't have hardly any insects. Although, if I remember correctly, Finland, that's right next to you, has a lot of swampland. And I bet there's mosquitoes galore in the wrong time of year. But yeah, we have so many insects, it's ridiculous. I don't know why anybody would want to live here before air conditioning was invented. Mosquitoes, yeah. Yeah, just have my wife anywhere near you and you won't get stung. They must go after her blood type. Oh, good save. We don't want him to end up on the floor. Probably nothing would happen other than give me a mild heart attack, but not because I couldn't fix it. I just don't want to spend any more time repairing stuff. Oh, I don't think I'm going to have much of a time. You know what? It's a long weekend, right? And I'll get these guys done. I may have time to do my little Russian village. I've got these old Eastern Front type of Russian village. I want to say they're from JR Miniatures, then 6mm scale. Yeah, we could paint some of those guys up. Yeah, that'd be cool. Get kind of the spirit of things. Uh oh, we got a comment. Not that that's a bad thing, that's a good thing. More spiders means less mosquitoes. You guys have a lot of mosquitoes, huh? Well, they don't gross me out. Ever since malaria, I hate mosquitoes. Are there a thing? Is malaria a thing? You have moose in Sweden? Wow, I had no idea. They're cute, but man, those guys have a bad attitude, don't they? Other than that, the most dangerous count is very, very, very low. No deadly snakes, no deadly insects. I don't have a problem with deadly snakes. When I lived in the condominium, which is just a fancy an apartment you own, before I moved here, I had a little front porch area that was enclosed. There was a small opening, but it was walled in, so to speak, maybe a 10 by 10 area. And my door opened into it, into my house. And I would always keep a broom. As the door opened, the broom was behind it because, there was leaves and you brush them out. And I remember my dad was coming. We were going to go out for Father's Day. And I go and do this, and my parents were going to come over. We were going to go out somewhere. I grabbed the broom, and then out of the corner of my eye, I see something behind me, and there was a snake curled up right by my door. So here's the door that goes into my house. It opens this way. There's a wall like this, and behind the wall, there's a snake. And of course, the door is closed. So now I can't get into my house without getting my foot within my legs within a foot or so from the snake. I don't know what it is. It looks like a rattlesnake. Eh, I'm not grossed out by it, but I know that they're really fast. And I'm like, how am I going to get out of him? Eventually, I had to go to the neighbor's house, get some kind of a tool like a hoe, and encourage him to get out. And a moccasin, because this area was kind of swampy or whatever. It didn't gross me out. I actually think snakes are pretty cool. The problem is they're just so damn fast, and you don't expect to see one. But he doesn't really want to come after me. He's just cornered there. Well, you don't want to corner a poisonous snake because they're going to strike. And, I had better plans than to go and try to get antivenom somewhere and I was wearing shorts, of course. If I was wearing boots and long pants and I had like a something, some kind of prodding device, I wouldn't be so worried about it. But yeah, we had to kill him, unfortunately, but it happens. You have a lot of moose, deer, reindeer. They create a lot of traffic accidents. Yeah, we have a lot of them here, but they allow them to hunt. It's a shame because they're very. The last time I saw one recently, I thought, this is an animal that is like a squirrel. They're very nimble, very elegant, but they have zero common sense. They can't cross the street without getting hit by a car, but they like squirrels. But they can jump from one tree to another and not hit the ground. It's just crazy. They have they're super specialized skills. Never see other animals like bear, boar, lynx, and wolf, so they aren't as dangerous. Yeah, wolves. A bear is solitary, so at least you can get away from one. But a pack of wolves, yeah, no. Lynx? Are lynx aggressive to humans? And they're not that big. I mean, I don't want to get into a fight with one, but there's parts of this country, like Wyoming and stuff like that, that if I was out in the wilderness, yeah, I'm not going to those places unless I'm very well armed. But we don't have that. I did see a panther, which is at night one time recently, a couple years ago, kind of in the middle of civilization, not near our house, more out in the country at night. They're supposedly endangered, but did cross in front of the car. So, all right, let me go wake the daughter up. She wanted to be woken up at 6:30, and I'll be right back. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of deer in Florida. I don't hunt. I have zero interest in hunting. Less than zero interest in hunting. Animals, anyways. I don't want to kill animals just because they're there. That's not in me. Not until they don't have ham in the grocery store anymore. I don't think lynx are aggressive. One of my colleague friends got killed by a pack of wolves. That's happened to me lots of times in video games. She worked on a local zoo in the wolf's enclosure, and she went in there by herself to feed them. Yeah, they're a predator. Why are you gonna mess with a predator? I mean, I know it is a zoo, but man, pack of wolves in Red Dead Redemption. For those of us that live in a literal swamp, so to speak, so much of our state is swamp that it is really almost like going to another world when you see mountains and snow. Now, I don't want to live in snow, but it is absolutely beautiful. It's whatever you're not used to. For those of you guys that live in snow, you're like, whatever, right? Because you see it all the time, and you have to shovel it. But when we go somewhere and it's snowing, or you're up on a mountain, or it's like going to another planet. It really is. It's really amazing. But I don't want to live in that environment. That's just too much of a. I don't want to fight Mother Nature. You know what I mean? So yeah, I wouldn't want to be out on some mountain unarmed. No way. There's too many things I might decide to have a bad day and take it out on me. I also don't go looking for trouble. It's not like I'm going out there. I'm gonna pick a fight. No, no, I'm minding my own business. Okay, so here is the base coat on all these guys. Now, do I have time to do the middle coat? I think I do. I think I do. So let's see. Middle coat here is, yeah, the other day I saw a deer. It got hit. Something hit a deer. Luckily, it wasn't me. And it looked like they set up a meat market in the middle of the road. It was bad. It was horror movie bad. It's like it exploded. But yeah, beautiful, graceful creatures that have zero common sense. I don't understand it. They're overly specialized. Squirrels too. Squirrels make no sense. You know they got good vision. There's no way. How do you move? How do you jump from one swaying, a moving, swaying tree to another moving, swaying tree, never miss, and yet you can't cross you double back and cross the road and get hit by a freaking car all the time. Well, I live in a university town, and it's kind of like the same thing as many people in this town. They have all this intelligence and education, but no common sense. Don't be overly specialized. I'm proudly not that intelligent. Oh man. I know we got kids here that all I hear is they never want to get a job. They keep going from one degree to another. Well, degrees don't pay money. You got to eventually get a job and be a productive citizen. I'm not saying college isn't important. It is, but it can be if that's what you want to do. But not everybody should go to college. We do need some people to work at Burger King. You don't have to do it your whole life, but. All right, this is for those guys not seen my videos, this is US Field Drab, which is the middle tone here of that. I think that a lot of jobs don't require a college education. Some things obviously you do need to, but a lot of it is just, a way to weed out candidates for a job position. I went to school for building construction, and I don't use any of that. I don't use any of the stuff that I learned in school. No, the process of going about finding an answer or something for what I need done, yeah, that's the stuff that you use. But most people in this country went to college for A and they do B for a living. It's not really related, unless you're like a lawyer or a doctor or something like that. Obviously, that you need to be in the same field, but most people study one thing and do something else. So, but the method that you use to learn things, like lots of people get down on algebra. Dude, you're using algebra every day, whether you realize it or not. Now, algebra 2 stuff, complicated algebra and stuff, yeah, that's, you know, that stuff doesn't get used by very many people. But regular stuff, yeah, every day you're using it and you don't even know you're using it. Good thing with being an engineer, you can basically work in any type of engineering. There you go. My dad was a civil engineer, among other things. But he really enjoyed his engineering moral way of thinking. I can see that. Yeah. I could see that. I never found anything that I studied in school that is like I wanted to do for a living. And a lot of it is there's so many bad teachers. I have one teacher in college that he was in the building construction program. And I mean, if I run into this guy on the street, I'm giving him a big hug because he's literally the the best teacher I've ever had. I'm not going to go so far and say the best teacher in the whole world, but he may not be fun at parties, but he really knew how to explain things. And there was one class called structures. That's what it was called. It might have been called structures and something else, but it was engineering type of stuff with moments and all that kind of stuff. Just stuff that makes sense, that's concrete, physics type stuff. And I freaking aced it because of him. And, it was a very real thing you were learning. I don't do well with abstract crap. I don't do well with abstract art. I don't do well with abstract learning, abstract math, irrational numbers, and insane stuff like that that doesn't make sense. We're just not all programmed the same, you know. Some people can do that, and then they can't show up to work on time. It's got to have some balance. But this teacher was incredible, really connected with what I needed. And, most people are not that way. Most people are not well suited to that. So I didn't get that from my dad. I did get the interest in learning. The problem is the stuff I want to learn doesn't really make any money. You know what I'm saying? I'm just learning it as a hobby. But this history stuff, yeah, I love learning about that. War of the Roses book was awesome because I learned stuff I didn't know anything about. I think I had to do my structures exam like 6 times before I managed to get through it. Well, I'm sure yours was more difficult than mine. Mine was, I didn't go. Didn't go to school for engineering, so it wasn't really focused on that. But and you had a worse teacher. I'm gonna go on a limb and say that. But I like that kind of stuff. Moment, and if there's this much weight on this one, the counterweight, just stuff that makes sense. Now, I don't even work close to building engineering. Yeah, it happens. Just a way to get your foot in the door. At least in this country, I can't speak for other places. I really have no idea. So I know the industry I work in has been not affected much by the pandemic at all. It has in case, people don't show up for work or well, now it's supplies, but, we're very busy, fortunately. So, I'll be right back. All right, we got like another 5 minutes, and then we're gonna have to cut off for this session, and we will be back. We will get these Russians done. think they fight I think they fight my Swedes. Maybe that's another battle we can do as well. I believe they fight. I believe they do. The Swedes go to 1280, and these guys are before 1280. I bet they're, well, it's another battle we can do with them. Good, we get to do funny accents in that game. That are totally unrealistic. Sorry, Mr. Cog. You guys watched our videos. You know we're just having a good time. We make fun of everything, so. I'll bring my IKEA catalog so we can just rattle off some random names. I enjoyed the recent video. Well, it wasn't a recent video. It was actually shot before the pandemic. The thing, it was on Facebook. I was warned that I needed to get that stuff off, that it was going to be deleted. So I don't do Facebook Live anymore for multiple reasons. Main thing is the audience. Lots of people I get only a third as many people. So there's no point in doing a video and not having lots of people watch it because I've already put the effort into it. Share the information. So I will eventually get all those videos not off of Facebook, but, so they don't get deleted. So it's okay. I talk your language with a funny accent all the time. Well, it's not really funny. Peculiar. It's okay. We can still be friends. So, speaking of IKEA, I know IKEA is probably just Walmart in Sweden or something like that, but this table is that. This table is awesome. I got a couple of things from them that are just on point. This is one of them. My display case is IKEA as well, and discontinued, unfortunately. That thing is really awesome and really inexpensive compared to everything else. Maybe everything else is overpriced. What figures are these? These are Merliton. These are Russian Merliton figures on 15 millimeter scale, although they're probably closer to 18s. Heroic 15 maybe. They fit on here just fine. But yeah, I got these probably around 2008 when they came out. And they're really nice figures. And I finally got around to painting them. So I get to run around and call people, "You stupid serf." So that'll be fun. Nothing like downgrading somebody's social class. Oh. Got time for another one? I think I got time for another one. We'll be back. We'll get these guys finished. We want to do videos with these folks. Should I stick with this one? Yeah, let's just stick with this one. So make sure, if you guys aren't subscribed already, make sure you're subscribed. Hit that little bell there so you can be notified of any videos as they happen. Notified if I go online. You guys can follow along. Work on your own hobby stuff if you need to. And just general chit-chat. And any new videos that come up, you'll be notified of that. And it does, I've been told, make a difference on visibility. So, have already finished an Alexander Nevsky base. So I have a guy who's we're going to call him the Prince. It's not necessarily Alexander Nevsky, but yeah, he's not totally here. Here's the big man himself right here in the middle. So, but the bases aren't complete. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and stop now, but I'll show you guys the bases that we have so far. Let's rinse this stuff out. And this morning I was able to get them all the way across, so we should be able to do that. So here's the 5 stand. The rest of the army is complete. So, well, thank you. It does not do them justice in this crappy video quality. We'll have pictures of these guys with a still camera. I think I can get them all on here. There we go. Yeah, they're beautiful figures. They paint themselves. So, and we're going to have banners on at least one small banner, or a lance pendant would be probably more appropriate to call it that, on each one of the stands, other than the big man himself, because he's got something to prove. So the big banner goes here. But yeah, Merliton figures, 15mm scale. They're beautiful. They're fun to paint. They just took forever. So looking forward to getting these guys done and working on the next army. So for those of you guys that do not know, that's going to be Papal Italian. We're going to get the Pope and all the fun zany jokes that we can do with that. So that will be a hoot. So, okay. Well, until next time, we'll catch you guys later on this weekend. I've got to go do things. I've got to do mortal things now. So we should be back later on this weekend. And catch you guys next time. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy your Saturday, folks. Bye-bye.